Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a kind of college application advice video, and I guess this is kind of just like a money saving tips kind of thing. But yeah, I kind of want to start like a college series kind of thing on my channel because I'm going to college in like the next week. That's like crazy to say out loud, but I guess I can do some like college related videos. Like I could do a dorm room haul, I could do like a move-in vlog if you want me to, and like a day in my life of college, or I don't know. But right now I'm not in college, so I'm just gonna like film my advice video. So my first piece of advice is it is never too early to start thinking about college. Personally, I waited until the last possible second to do so. I made the decision on what school I was going to literally like the week before decision day. I was convinced until that day that I would never go to the school that I chose, and I was just so against the school, and I didn't decide until the week before because I didn't really know what I wanted until later on, and I didn't really start thinking about it until later on. So I just recommend like maybe starting early junior year or like later sophomore year. I went on my first college tour at the end of junior year, and I honestly still wasn't even thinking about college. I was just like, oh, my mom's having me do this, like might as well go do it. I didn't really start seriously thinking about like, oh, where should I apply until the beginning of senior year. So that's like the last possible second. Getting a head start will just allow you to kind of really fully think through your plans, because college can determine a lot for you. Like wherever you go, whatever you do, like that's gonna change your life forever. So choose a place wisely and start thinking about it earlier on. And my second one is, if you are undecided for your major and you're not really a big school person like I am, don't go to a school that's gonna leave you in some crazy student debt. So I'm going to my state school because U of O, if you didn't know, University of Oregon, I'm going there. I think that is the cheapest option for where I applied to. That was kind of a big factor in my final decision. My first choice before U of O was Western Washington, and that's out of state for me, so it would have been a little more expensive, but I feel like they would have provided me the same kind of education, and did I really want to be in Washington? I don't know. So I just decided U of O probably would have been a smarter choice, especially because it's closer to home. I really don't know how I feel about college yet. I don't know what my major is at all, and it's a giant public school that has a lot of majors to offer, and it's not as expensive. There are cheaper in-state schools, obviously, but it's just what I liked most in my state, so that's kind of what my like safety school was. Another thing that is very smart that people do is they go to community college to get their associates before they move on to a four-year school. And why this is better is because one, it's cheaper, and two, usually you can just transfer your credits over, and that will save you a lot of money in the long run. And when you say like, oh, I graduated from wherever with my bachelor's, they'll just look at that school, not where you went for your first 2 years. At the end of the day, it matters where you got like your major and that kind of stuff. They're not going to be like, oh, she went to community college. Weird. And my second piece of advice is, if you are deciding to go to a community college to get your associates first, make sure it's not one of those schools that won't let you transfer your credits over. Make sure that the school you're going to after will let you transfer those credits over, because there are some schools that will be like, nope, it doesn't count, you didn't take it here. Like, you don't want to do that. That would be a lot of time and money wasted, and that would just screw you over. So make sure it's not one of those, like, I think it's called like a for-profit school where they just like, you can't transfer those credits anywhere. Like, don't go to those schools. And my third piece of my fourth piece of advice is take your SATs and ACTs when you are ready. It does cost money to take them, so it's not cheap if you take it like 5 or 6 times. So if you need a tutor, like get yourself a tutor. I personally did an SAT prep class at my local community college, and that kind of helped my score a little bit, but my sister, she had a private tutor, and that really helped her out, and it's definitely worth the money because you might end up getting more scholarship money if you have higher test scores. Yeah, you just want to be able to make sure your SATs or ACTs are good, because if they aren't, then a school might not want you, but some schools don't really care about SAT and ACT scores, which they shouldn't because they suck. But yeah, it will definitely be more cost effective if you just get yourself a tutor, and probably more beneficial to you just knowing like test taking skills in general, not necessarily for the SAT and ACT. It'll be more effective if you get a tutor rather than take the SAT 10 times until you get the score that you're okay with. And if you're gonna get a tutor, make sure they have good reviews, or like ask some friends that are older than you like what some good tutors are, or test prep classes are. My next money saving tip is do not apply to 10 schools. You don't need to do it. Like, honestly, if there's a school where you're already kind of like, I don't know, like, is it worth it? Like, do you think I could even, like, afford this? Like, just don't apply to it. There are a couple schools I applied to that were just, I knew when I was applying they were outside of my price range. Even if I did get, like, a little scholarship, it would have been out of my price range. I still applied, which is kind of stupid looking back at it. But it costs, like, I don't know, depending on the school, it's like $60 give or take to apply to a school, plus the cost to send out your SAT score. I don't remember how much that cost. It was probably like 10 or 20 bucks to send out to each school, but still, like, that adds up if you apply to a lot of schools. So my advice would be to just like pick a safety school, and then pick like 3 or 4 schools that you're like, oh, I want to go there, but are still realistic for you getting into. For example, if you're like a 3.8 student and you're applying to Harvard, you're wasting your money. They're not gonna accept you. And then another thing that helps with narrowing your application list is visiting the school beforehand. I know there were some schools that I was about to apply to, and I went and visited it, and I just absolutely hated the campus. But you would have to visit eventually, even if you did apply. Like, you either visit it and don't apply, or visit it and apply. So it's just better if you go look at it, because you're gonna have to do it anyway, probably, most likely. My next piece of advice is always pick a backup school. My backup school is a school I'm going to. It's not really like a bad school, but it's just like, I was like, oh, I don't want to stay in Oregon. Like, I don't want to go to my Oregon school. There's going to be so many people from my high school, but I ended up going there, and I'm like okay with it. This is always a good idea, because you are gonna feel really shitty if you apply to all these private schools and then end up not getting in for whatever reason, and then you're like, well, now what do I do? Like, I didn't apply to any other school. So always get that backup school that you know no matter what you'll probably get into, even if you like fail your last semester. Also, the next one for saving money is, if you know like family is important to you and you want to see your family all the time, don't go to a school on the other side of the country. That plane ticket is not going to be cheap. Stay at a school that's like pretty close. I don't want to be leaving my family too far behind, so I'm going to a school that's close by, because I would like to come home more than just during like Thanksgiving and Christmas. If you're that kind of person that doesn't care and wants to get away from home, like, it doesn't matter where you go, but I personally value my family, so I'm staying a little bit closer, so that'll definitely save me money for traveling back and forth. Or also, when you're traveling back to see your family, if it's like not that far, I know I applied to some schools in like Seattle and like Bellingham, and they had this like bus that would basically go to universities, and it was so inexpensive. It was called like the Bolt bus. I don't even know if that's right. One of the buses that are for college students are called that, but it was like a super cheap like carpool method, and you can save a lot of money doing that instead of like flying home or whatever. So definitely look out for things like that if there's like a student discounted mode of transportation. Okay, my last piece of advice is don't go somewhere that your friends or significant other is going just because you don't want to leave them behind after high school ends. Why I say this is because your college experience should not be determined by other people. You're not paying thousands of dollars to hang out with people just because like you don't want to leave them behind when high school ends. So don't go across the country because your best friend is going there too. Like, don't apply to schools just because that's where your boyfriend or girlfriend is going to. You never know how that friendship or like relationship is gonna end up in the end, so it might not even be worth it. I'm personally going to the same school as my boyfriend, but that's not a move that was out of like our relationship, I guess. Like, it's our state school. We're both just kind of like in the same place, like academic wise, and that was both of our backup school just because I don't even know if he applied to another Oregon school, but we both ended up going to U of O because that's just like what worked out for us individually. But I know there are definitely people out there that will be like, oh, my boyfriend's going there, gotta go there too. So don't do that. You never know where life is gonna go, so that could screw you over. But yeah, that is all I have left. I can't think of anything else right now, but yeah, I feel like I kind of covered a lot. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and follow our social media, which is down below. If you're going to college this year, good luck. If you are in high school, start thinking about college because you'll thank yourself later. But yeah, bye!